The spring sun was scattered on the lawn full of youthful breath, and the warm breeze was blowing on the flagpole, and the small blue flag that said Zongda College High School was flung up. A group of teenagers who look like high school students are standing on this lawn. Their eyes are concentrated on the high platform in front, listening to the speech on the stage with great concentration. Facing this turbulent world, facing your own future. Are you standing at the crossroads in your life? Are you timid in a safe city, or are you struggling? 100 days before the college entrance examination, this 100 days is more precious than magic stones and dazzling than stars. In the team behind the sign of Class A, a thin and handsome teenager shook his head vigorously. He felt dizzy, with blue veins on his scalp, and the speech on the stage was completely unintelligible, and it seemed that something was about to break out of his brain. Out of the shell. What? He yelled, and suddenly fell under his head. The whole queue became flustered. The classmates who saw the boy fell hurriedly wanted to help him, but the students who heard the sound but didn't know what had happened started talking, and the whole hall became noisy and chaotic. What's the situation? What happened? A classmate fell down. Who is it? Is there too much pressure? It is still overwork that caused the body to reach its limit. Quiet. Keep order. Is this what you elites look like? You are not allowed to speak. On the high platform wearing gold glasses, the principal-like old man shouted loudly, his voice was transmitted through a complex array, and suppressed the sound of discussion all around. It's okay, I'll take care of it. A middle-aged tutor in a blue robe said to the principal, and then he walked into the student line with an ebony stick in his hand and glanced roughly. Then he waved his hand, and a stream of water flowed down his feet, wrapping up the fallen boy, and gently lifting it aside in the shade. Then he unbuttoned the collar of the boy's tough outfit and checked it carefully. It hurts, what happened? The boy covered his head, but from the corner of his eyes he saw the gorgeous ornamentation on the staff, and the things that happened before gradually came to his mind. Yes. Yesterday, I spent time with my friends who haven't been together for many years. I was so excited, I wonder if it was drunk or drunk. So he drank a few more glasses, and soon became drunk and unconscious, and then he didn't know what happened. When I wake up in the morning, I can see the word effort that I often hung on the ceiling during high school and the ubiquitous post-it notes in the room. This is a good habit I developed when I was young. Errors and omissions will be recorded. Paste it around the room to deepen the memory at any time. Did you go back to the past? After a short period of confusion, there are endless surprises. Shen Chen, his parents have disappeared since he was a child, but they also left him a home, enough to ensure a worry-free life. In the 30 years of my previous life, because I was addicted to games before the college entrance examination, I failed to play but only got a second book. Although the university relied on hard work, I got a 211 graduate student. But the undergraduate was so bad that it was still difficult to do after graduation, and then became a 996 programmer in a small game company. Although I finally met the high school goddess again, it was a mere fact that it was difficult to continue. But God has given me a chance to be reborn. I have advanced program codes and business messages in my mind. Even if I am playing games, I will definitely be able to break into a world. He planned to enter one of the 2 universities in Qingbei based on his memory of the college entrance examination questions. He regretted it after passing the college entrance examination. He had to read those questions several times. Although the time has passed for a long time, as long as he saw similar knowledge points should be able to be remembered. When I arrived at university, I started my own business and established my own team in the university. You can write novels, create a few songs, accumulate your first pot of gold, accumulate capital, and obtain land from the catering industry or supermarket industry. Next, we will enter the business world, deploy the network in advance, take advantage of the financial crisis to make a big profit, and at the same time step in the real estate industry, waiting for the opportunity to deploy express and offline physical industries. At that time, a huge business group spanning multiple fields was born. Maybe the internet giants will be his own? Shen Chen looked at the word effort on the ceiling, falling into endless reverie. It is a pity that this is not an urban traversal essay. Perfect ideas have to be returned to reality, but reality often has a huge gap with imagination. As Shen Chen thought, he drew a note on his hand. What is this? Offline pace, to gain a favorable angle of attack. He sat up in shock, his lips trembled, and the panic and confusion in his eyes were spreading rapidly. This is not to blame for him. Although he is a middle-aged modern man from the information age, the fear of mankind comes from the unknown. The content of this note is completely inconsistent with his perception. Maybe this is a joke written by hand while playing a game. Shen Chen thought by luck. He immediately pulled down the other sticky notes on his hand, and looked at them in a panic and carefully. Are all medieval swordsmanship and some pictures that are completely intangible, but there is a diamond-shaped thing in the middle of the picture. Shen Chen stood up slantingly, his feet were unstable and he even needed his hands to support him. The books on the desk were neatly arranged, and the first book said, Basic Magic Stone Application. Basic Magic Lines, Advanced Swordsmanship Skills, Strategy Analysis of the Game World, Thinking about the origin of the game, rules and principles contained in the game world. He pulled open the pile of books, turned over, and they all could understand, but things that are confusing when combined together. What the is this world? Shen Chen gradually calmed down, even though his reason and consciousness were trampled on at this time. Isn't it rebirth, but crossing? Then more differences are coming towards Shen Chen, European-style rooms, magic stone lamps, sword racks at the door, Western food, self-propelled magic tools, exotic cities and magical college castles. It turns out that this is a magic, no, the world of magic. Shen Chen's consciousness gradually blurred, and he came to the school unconsciously, walking like a walking dead with the flow of people to the big playground, until the roar of the college entrance examination vows, he gradually called him come back. College entrance examination? The world also has college entrance examinations. What's the matter with trademark? Shen Chen thought under the shade, but the wooden stick in the corner of his eye reminded him that the teacher was still watching him. Clarity. Ye Luo is the magic instructor who brought Shen Chen aside. He is a teaching director of the Zongdu Academy. His face is usually very stern with worry and pity. It's a pity that this good seedling has undergone major changes, but he still maintains a positive learning attitude. Too much work will cause physical discomfort. Ye Luo thought secretly that the movement on his hand inevitably took a few minutes faster, and a blue halo reflected on Shen Chen's head. Shen Chen, we know your situation. Isn't it the impaired training? Listen to the teacher's advice. Even if you can't enter the university this year, the college will grant you a re-entry place. It's not too late to come back next year. If you are so anxious, you will only ruin your body and talent. Ye Luo thought about it because he had misunderstood something, thinking that Shen Chen was suffering from physical discomfort due to overstudy, but he became more affectionate and appreciated. As the magical power of the clarity technique poured into his brain, Shen Chen felt that the sharp pain in the brain slowly diminished, his thinking was gradually sorted out, and his mind returned to normal. Hey! Shen Chen gasped, am I still in this world? I am not dreaming. Are you okay? Don't be stubborn when you are in poor health, take a break here. No, your class and academic affairs will help you ask for leave, take a good rest at home these few days, understand? Yazhu Luo asked. Shen Chen looked at the sky in confusion, his mood had passed the roller coaster several times in the morning, and now it all turned into a sorrow and grief. Is it really impossible to go back? Although Shen Chen had no parents or brothers since he was a child, and even his relatives didn't know where to find out. Before he came to this world, he didn't have a girlfriend enough to talk about marriage, but to his friends, his hometown and the blue world. Nostalgia makes his mind difficult. When you come, you will be at peace. All thoughts finally turned into a sigh. Since you have come to this world and live in place of the owner of this body, you must live like a earth person. Yazhu Luo saw that Shen Chen didn't answer for a long time, thinking that he hadn't listened to his own advice, and his tone became severe. You can't behave like this. I can't let such a good seedling be buried. When the conference is over, I personally send you back, and take a good rest at home these few days. When you recover, you will come back to school. This is an order. Do you understand? Shen Chen was taken aback. This instructor looked very powerful, so he should not be guilty. Besides, it seemed that he still cared very much about himself, at least this body. So he quickly replied, "Oh, I see. This is decent. The teacher is someone who has come here. The experience is more than your experience in the game world combined. You must be right to listen to the teacher." Yazhu Luo sees that Shen Chen is softened, so he calms down. Teacher, first go to discuss with the principal, you will rest here, and the teacher will send you home later. Shen Chen looked dumbfounded. Experience in the game world? The more I said, the more confused I became. Yazhu Luo glanced at Shen Chen and sighed lightly, hoping that he could get out quickly. At this time, the speech on the high platform was gradually coming to an end, and the principal began to comment on the results of the monthly exam. Yes, monthly exam. Since there is a college entrance examination in this world, there are naturally evil monthly exams, joint exams, and mock exams. Zongde College is also a top university, and its high school is naturally the main force for transporting talents. Right now, all those standing on this playground are examination rooms. Elite, the scholar in the eyes of others. This time I still want to give special praise to Class A. Their grades have achieved another good result. In this monthly exam, the average score of the whole class is 572.4 points, which is more than 30 points higher than the admission line of the college entrance examination last year, and 30 of the students with more than 600 points many, which means that the top universities in the country are allowed to choose. Classmates, such an example is by your side. Is there any qualification not to work hard? The principal spit on the stage, but some people were whispering in the audience. In the queue of Class A and Class B, there is a group of people who are very conspicuous. They are not in the same class, but they are standing together. They are the legendary small campus collectives, and they can be called a school master, but it is hard to say whether it is a school master or which one. Boss, I blame Shen Chen for dragging down your class this time, otherwise the score will surpass the second middle school, and the school's reward resources will at least be doubled. A sturdy figure is facing Class B in the queue. He moved a few steps, hiding himself, and complained to the students next door. That's it, I don't know what kind of face Shen Chen still has to stay in Class A. It would be good to see that his grades can go to Class J. A tall and thin man behind him also said, I'm still the boss, second in Class A, close to 700 points. It's a pity that this flattering hit the horse's leg. Seeing that the boss looked calm, a small partner next to him hurriedly said to the thin and tall man, which pot does not open and which pot, you said that, you didn't stab the boss. Is it sore? The person in the small group in Class A is Jiao Yang, who is the second in the school in this monthly exam. He has a delicate face, a pair of fine eyes inadvertently flashing a few shimmers, a bunch of bangs slightly on the forehead, in the breeze flirting constantly. Jiao Yang is indeed an elite, a high school tyrant, but he is laughed at as the second of 10,000 years. This is because he is always ranked second in the school, and every time he is in the front of him, naturally, before that incident happened, Shen Chen, who is known as the hegemony, has been tested. This is not just jealous or simple unwillingness. Jiao Yang is a child of the family, and the top and best name and burden have been placed on his head since childhood. But in the 2 years since high school, Shen Chen has steadily ranked first, and Jiao Yang never once drove Shen Chen from that peak position. If Shen Chen and him are the same descendants of the family, that's fine. But Shen Chen is an ordinary citizen, a dog-legged family in the eyes of the aristocratic family, and even such a competitor cannot cope with it. How to support the family's great cause? So, this not only drew disappointed eyes from my mother, but my father was also disappointed in him. He turned all the suppression in the family into anger and grilled Jiao Yang. The biggest blow came from the old lady who was the housekeeper. He gradually stopped paying attention to Jiao Yang, and the subsidy for their family was not as good as every day. This was the biggest blow to a family of children. This loss and unrest gradually transformed into hatred, buried and deep in my heart. It's a pity that Shen Chen is no longer the number one, but he failed to win that throne. Now Jiao Yang can imagine what happened to Shen Chen after returning home today. In the past, Shen Chen was first. It was because his opponent was too strong, and now he is again, how to say? But since Shen Chen has fallen, if he doesn't take this opportunity to drive him into the abyss, how can he pass? The conversation between Jiao Yang and his friends was gradually allowed in order to attract the attention of the stage. Hey, although Shen Chen has undergone major changes, he still stays in Class A with a face, which is something we cannot tolerate or bear. A waste still occupies such an excellent resource. This is an insult to our family and the funding of the sponsoring college. Jiao Yang, your voice is too loud, be careful to be heard by the principal. A classmate reminded him in a low voice. Another classmate retorted, there is nothing to say about this, only the state official can set fire. Slapped a palm on the back of the forehead, stupid you. You are not a common man. The next few students, what are you talking about underneath? Come. Come up and tell the whole school. See what your opinions are. The principal's strength is extraordinary, and he has noticed Jiao Yang for a long time. His grades were good, and he was not on the face of the family's children. But the constant discussion below has seriously affected the order of the venue, so I have to point it out. Ha ha ha. There was laughter in the audience. Why are you laughing? Jiao Yang is just worrying about you. Shen Chen's score of more than 300 points has dragged the average score of our A class to nearly 10 points, and he is still cheeky and staying. Yes, yet. Why? Jiao Yang's friends shouted loudly. The entire venue turned into a pot of porridge in an instant. As everyone knows about Shen Chen, a mistake in his cultivation caused his strength to almost return to the original point, from the iron plate first in the school to the last one in the school. It seems a little bit reasonable. Although Shen Chen used to have excellent grades and competed for a lot of honors for the school, but with his current grades, staying in Class A would be a shame for the school. It's really a pity. Something went wrong in the practice. I'm afraid that I won't be able to recover before the college entrance examination. In the end, I can only go to a cultural institute. Maybe the school has reserved a precious repeater place for him, so worry about yourself, don't let yourself end up with him. If anyone speaks below, Dean Duan Yuan, please write down their names and turn around to hand in a strategy essay. A swearing ceremony was interrupted several times, and the principal became angry. He could not punish him or play. Are these cultural people's methods? Jiao Yang, if you have any comments, you can come up and say it. The principal pointed the finger at the group of people in Jiao Yang who disturbed him. Nothing, nothing. Jiao Yang felt that his goal had been achieved, at least Shen Chen's mythical image was gradually shattered in the minds of his classmates. But his little brothers hadn't realized it yet. Seeing that the principal focused their attention here, they shouted loudly, a large part of the school's education funds is from the Jiao Yang family. Give these resources to a waste material. Is it unfair? That is, why should Shen Chen still eat the best resources in Class A? The other brothers also agreed. The principal frowned and stared at Jiao Yang. Is this what you mean to question the school's decision? If you are dissatisfied, you can ask your Jiaozun person to come to the school and discuss with me. As for funding, it can also be withdrawn at any time, the school has a source of funds. No such meaning, absolutely not. Jiao Yang bitterly kicked the little brother who had just spoken, the pig teammate CAO, this is an affiliated college of Zongda College. At the beginning, his family wanted to sponsor a lot of connections. If you really break this line, you may be killed when you go home. Very good. The pressure of the principal made Jiao Yang sweat. Seeing that he didn't show any dissatisfaction, he finally showed up. You know the current affairs and smile, Jiao Yang, you will hand in a game guide later, I will not. I'm looking for your family. On such a solemn occasion of the Swearing Master Conference, Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com can't let you make such trouble. Well, let's continue. Shen Chen was on the side of the playground but was dumbfounded. What happened just now and why were they staring at me? Raiders papers, what are the resources? Now I especially praise a classmate. The principal on the stage began his speech again. That is the first of the 4 schools in this monthly exam, student Su Yatong. Her score of 705 points is enough to disregard the entire middle school, and this year's college entrance examination champion. It is very likely to belong to her. Peking University and Tsinghua University have prepared admission resource entries for her in advance. Everyone should learn from her and work towards her. Shen Chen looked at the classmates and looked at the flag bearer at the forefront of Class A. His slender thighs, exquisite body, and shawl black long hair showed a pair of faintly pointed ears. His face was like a fallen wizard. Sophisticated and elegant. According to Shen Chen's evaluation, even some of the Miss World, various Hua Dan, Victoria's Secret supermodels, and even PS Dafa goddess from previous lives are still ashamed of standing in front of her. Su Yatong saw Shen Chen's gaze, a pair of eyes that are as agile as autumn water and brilliant as gems. She showed worrying eyes at Shen Chen, bright and warm breath, so that Shen Chen's heart was pounding, and a thought was also about to move in the body, about to gush out. It seems that the predecessor has a strong relationship with this proud man of heaven. Through the different feelings of the body, it seems that there is a special bond between the two people, but I don't know what it is. But this smile seemed to arouse some hidden things, countless images rushed to the face, countless memories poured into my heart, this body seemed to begin to merge with Shen Chen. Magic makes civilization, faith makes gods, adventure makes heroes, and epics make legends. In fact, GAM world is just a traditional magical world with knights, wizards, priests, and masters. Humans occupy the central continent, the orcs conquered the northern plateau, the dwarves live in the western mountains, and the elves live in the southern forests. All races live steadily without conflict or war. Of course, it's just that there is no obvious war, and resources are gradually becoming unbearable in a world with rapidly expanding population. Masters built the Dimensional Wizard Tower, and they began to look for a passage to the dimensional world. The dwarf followed the vein all the way down and dug one dungeon after another. The flag of the kingdom's navy flies over the vast endless sea, conquering one island after another. The orcs are rushing to the top of the world, wanting to see what secrets remain on the snowy peak. Some people say that the cataclysm is that the orcs angered the gods and sent infinite punishments. Some people say that the teacher has discovered the chaos void in the dimension, which has attracted demons. Also has this view, the dwarf dug into the gate of in the depths of the world. The Bishop of Humanity said that the heroic spirits were awakened by your unbridled, and now they want to retake their homes. Regardless of how the rumors spread, it is written in the game history book, on the last day of the era of the 10,000 nations, the astrological changes, with 9 stars connecting pearls, 3 stars ring orbits, inter-star communication, heralding a major change is coming. Swept the game world. The sunrise of the new era came a little later than usual. When the first radiance of the sun fell, the black meteor fell on the capital of the wizard, destroying the 7 white towers that symbolized the peak of magical civilization. Abyssal creatures swarmed from the mine tunnels dug by the dwarves, and the black stone fort, symbolizing wealth and craftsmanship, was destroyed overnight. Countless undead crawled out of the black bay of the endless sea, turning the bustling port area into a terrifying place of death. Finally, the Zerg swept down from the peak of the world, and the orcs' shaman shrine became their new worm nest. However, there are countless cultural fragments that have arrived in this world with the disaster, and they have once again given hope to the desperate creatures of this world. The mages interpreted these fragments. In the smallest fragments about the size of a fingernail and the largest palm size, there are worlds hidden in them. In the eyes of the mages, these worlds contain countless wisdom, power, and rules. They are studying these worlds day by day, but their lack of knowledge and short-sighted vision cannot allow them to obtain the power to save the world. Disasters continue to spread in this world, and weak races begin to migrate to the center of the continent. Even powerful races such as humans, elves, and orcs have to cooperate to resist the invasion of disasters. The creatures call this period, catastrophe. Great Retreat. The era of great integration. Relying on the water system and mountains, various races have built a magical high wall on the border, using lifespan, flesh and blood and materials to forge the first fortress that has not been lost in the disaster. But such consumption has caused all races to almost lose their elites and geniuses, and they can no longer organize a battle for a great fortress. Since the author did not intend to write fantasy, the fragments once again surprised all races. An untalented mage apprentice, with a weak spiritual fire, let himself descend to the world in the fragments. He found his body in that world. The middle was digitized, and just a few days of adventure allowed him to break through the apprenticeship level and become a true mage. He wanted to keep this secret, but his sudden promotion was noticed by the Mage Association. Soon the news spread throughout Gem, and people communicated with the fragments and come into the fragmented world. After summing up, the world built by these fragments can not only enhance the potential and strength, but also train combat ability, command ability, and management ability. Even the rules of fragments, as well as some inexplicable so-called science can be used. A new era has begun, and this kind of world is called a game in the fragmented world. So the fragmented world was named the game world. The fusion of technology and magic began. Magic technology, modern educational methods, and game strategies began to dominate the development of this world. The beneficial characteristics of the two civilizations were combined, and a new civilization system was born. At the same time, the Church has researched new powers for Advent, which not only allows people to go to the game world, but also allows them to use magic to descend the power of the game world to the game world. In the next battle of the River Fortress, a Du warrior successfully manifested a large cultural fragment, the top weapon in the legendary world, the Sword of Extermination. In the first battle at his peak, the sword blade cut a deep Mayana trench on the harvest plain, separating the sky from the earth, and destroying the Abyss's attack range weapon, the wheeled Chaos Artillery. Many game masters followed along with their efforts and severely damaged these alien beasts from the Abyss, not only regaining the harvest plain, but also suppressing the Abyss back into the mountains. Since then, the world has the power to fight disasters and corrosion. The game world has been incorporated into the systems of education, belief, politics, and economy. The college entrance examination not only measures the strength of students, but also needs to test their exploration of the game world and understand. Shen Chen recalled the monthly test report card on the desk in the morning, with 136/150 cultural scores, 43/150 physical fitness scores, 86/150 skills scores, 127/300 comprehensive tests, and a total score of 392. He couldn't help but smile. The pressure of the college entrance examination in this world is much greater than that of his year. Even the high school affiliated to Zongda College where he attended, only less than 10% can, after being admitted to one, less than 50% can go to university. And the score and the school determine what kind of education and training resources a person will have. The power that the fragmented world can manifest is limited. Although new fragments are excavated every year, it is still in short supply. Shen Chen's high school class A has only 8 hours of game time per day, which is completely insufficient. If it is a poor school or class, it may only have 2 hours or 4 hours, and the progress of the practice will only be further behind, and it will be difficult to catch up again. Of course, you can also spend more resources and money to buy enough game time, but the cost is not affordable for ordinary people. Shen Chen is still missing his parents in this world. Although he has a living grandfather, he is secretly injured. He lives in a military nursing home and cannot provide financial support. Even if it is the house where he lives now, even though it is an inheritance left by his parents, the property taxes, property fees, utility bills, and living materials are still overwhelming Shen Chen's original body, and he needs to work extra to earn money. And if you can be admitted to a high-quality university similar to the previous life, generous scholarships, game time extended to 12 hours, not to mention, you can also have independent game landing equipment, enjoy excellent campus resources, and get a rich game world access rights, a better game communication environment and superior strategy teachers. The most important thing is the guild established on the basis of the university, which can challenge the dungeon and complete the tasks more smoothly, and the strength growth is naturally not a problem. But with my own grades now, it is difficult for me to enter a cultural application college. This kind of colleges can only come into contact with the basic scientific knowledge that has been organized from the game world, learn the corresponding magic device skills, and become an office worker or game world service worker after graduation. Low wages, long working hours, poor working environment, and welfare and social resources are naturally of no share. Let alone the goddess Su Yatong, it is difficult to find a wife. I don't want to be a 996 suffering person like my previous life. But how did the original body fall from the first to the present situation? Shen Chen digs into his memories. After entering high school, students have the right to reselect the game world. Their world has changed from the basic kind for children to the middle and upper world. Children's world? Isn't this Mario's world? There are also angry demons. Shen Chen vomited. It turned out to be in the private server, isn't it a blow? The legendary world is naturally a legend in the minds of all students, a top priority choice, but this world has existed for too long, not only the internal forces are mixed, but also the reality and the arrival have some people thinking about it. S predecessor had strayed into a world of legends that had been passive with his hands and feet. It was formed by the splitting of the main fragments. Not to mention the incomplete rules, the upgrade can only reach level 30, which is equivalent to the existence of private servers. A month ago, the Black Hand behind the scenes finally began to harvest the power of the private server, and the ability of private server players accumulated in the game world was looted. Shen Chen was naturally one of the members implicated. He lost all his accumulation of 2 years of games. Not only did his strength plummet, his mood was also severely damaged, and his comprehensive test performance was unfavorable. In the end, he could only score less than 400. Although the master who created the private server eventually fell into the distribution network, the private server was banned, and the power of the game world could not be recovered after all. The government's compensation is the right of access to a new game world, and signed confidentiality with each victim. Protocol. Secrecy caused the school to misrecognize what happened to Shen Chen, thinking that he had made a mistake in his practice, and his skills were lost. As for the principal and higher level existence who knew this, they would not say it. Because this confidentiality agreement is not only about the existence of private servers, but more importantly, this new world. The cultural fragments were excavated from the cleaned white pagoda. They were the earliest treasures that came to this world. It is not simply a quick fragment, but a complete, pieced together spherical object. The government will take this form of fragments, named cultural core. It is larger than the sum of the fragments found by the government in history, and there are faint words and lines on the spherical fragments. Violent, yi, by, and a gear and wrench style icon, a mark left by boxing. These patterns are ambiguous, and the characters of different civilizations are difficult to translate, so no one knows what this fragment is. But one thing is certain. It is a complete, mature, and recyclable world. Enabling this fragment means that all races in the GAM world are about to usher in a new era. An era of great development. According to the Spell Academic Seminar, Warlock Scholar Inheritance Institute, Church Study Organization, Supreme Conference of Night Sword Bearers, Game Strategy Forum, Game World Research Organization, etc., the world created with this fragment can give players the strength and talent, the lifting speed increased several times. In addition, while the world can accommodate enough players, it still guarantees the sustainable development of the world's circular green. In this way, at most the next generation, GAM world will have the power to fight back and regain lost territory. The complete world represents complete rules. Once it runs, it is naturally out of control. As soon as this cultural core is unfolded, the ruins of the White Tower immediately become the source of its world. It wants to control like other worlds, of course. Powerless. This world can only monitor and add some features related to the arrival, but it can no longer affect the operation of the game world. Fortunately, after a period of testing, the automatic operation of the game will not affect the player's strength, but will promote the training speed. At the same time, the rules and settings in the world are very in line with the GAM world. It has become an inevitable choice for people to replace the legendary world, the Dragon Valley and the Dungeon world, and the Journey world. Of course, necessary tests and experiments are also necessary. After all, this is a new and unknown world. If there are any traps or changes, game's future cannot be used as a bet. It happened that the private server incident broke out, and these poor bugs became the most suitable experimental subjects, with free game entry quota and 12 hours of daily game time. This does not cost any compensation, and it can also buy the hearts and minds of these small citizens. I think the private server players will be grateful for the government. North County Village, Black Rock Wolf. This is not. Shen Chen recalled the games he had played before. The name of the village and the mobs he faced made him very familiar. That was the majority of game players in the previous life. Known as Warcraft. But the predecessor had such a good opportunity, why did my soul get here in the end? A new game that has never been touched, according to the character of its predecessor, it should be incredibly happy and full of curiosity to immediately step into this world, and continue to explore at the same time. In the end, what happened? Head hurts. Hiss. I have a talent called Knight's Greed, what does it do? Oh. That line of small characters, this talented goblin association is not responsible for it. Attention! When you get more glittery treasures, you will also provoke the owners of those treasures. My inherent talent seems to provoke the NPCs who released the tasks, and the reputation has all become cold. Not to mention handing over tasks, it is extremely difficult to talk to them again. It turns out that, in this way, the characters in the game world don't care about themselves. The main/side missions cannot be completed. The supplies cannot be obtained from the supply merchants. Even the faction has begun to change. UU reading www.uugonshu.com is biased towards orderly neutrality and even towards evil. This is North County, the birthplace of the Paladin, where the power of the Holy Light is bred. A Paladin should possess the virtues of humility, honesty, mercy, bravery, notarization, sacrifice, honor, and light, not your dirty, stinking a place where dross can defile. The guard warned. The inability to complete the task means that the talent cannot be improved. It means that even the novice village cannot leave. It means that no matter how strong the strength is, Shen Chen's predecessor cannot imagine giving up the dream of becoming a strong man. As a genius who dominates the high school, he will never be willing to be a civilian or worker and waste your life. But the reality made him desperate. This game could not start, and other games had no resources for him to enter. Under the weight of reality, the predecessor used some means to hurriedly end his life, but he did not expect that there was a soul that was almost identical to him and came through and occupied this body. Can I handle the current situation? How to make these NPCs recognize themselves again? Shen Chen was a little flustered. Although it was a game world he was very familiar with, the changes in it also made him at a loss. No, I am also a traverser anyway, I am more familiar with this world than the natives of this world, I will definitely find a solution. In previous games, I have defeated at least the Legion, the ancient gods, explored the woodlands, ice caps, and outland, fought side by side with the Storm King, was taught by the Ash Lord, and licked the dried bananas of the elf goddess. How can the reputation of the North County be? It's hard to beat me. After learning the truth of this world, Shen Chen calmed down. After all, the otaku attributes appeared, and he began to fantasize again. I wish everyone, make persistent efforts, and create brilliant again. In the 115th year of the Xing Yuan calendar, the high school affiliated to Zongda College, the 100 Days Oath meeting ended perfectly. Please return to the classroom in an orderly manner. With the end of the principal's long talk, the exciting music sounded in the square. The anxious students under the sun immediately released their youthful vitality, the whole playground was full of noise, and in a moment it turned into a steaming bustling city. Although several teachers did their best to maintain order, how could they resist the baptism of youthfulness? Fortunately, the classmates still kept order in the queue, and there was no chaos. Are you okay? Shen Chen was still thinking about the game world. A fresh and natural fragrance hit him, although he could not smell the fragrance to recognize people, but his throbbing body told him that the person here was Su Yatong, who was identified by his predecessor. The other half in the future. Old Shen, what are you in a daze? Your goddess cares about you. Another thick voice exploded in Shen Chen's ear, dispelling all the charm in my heart. Shen Chen squinted and glared at a sturdy body that was sideways. That was his predecessor, Lu Wei, brother for short. He is not only a good friend of real middle school, and high school, but also a Mario game. The green hat and blue clothes friends in the world. Then smiled and cursed, don't I know, you need to remind me. Then Shen Chen turned his head angrily, looked at Su Yatong's probing eyes, and whispered, Yatong, I worry you. But these actions and words are the original body's instinctive control, which makes Shen Chen a little frightened. Could it be that the original body's consciousness has not faded, and he can control his body at any time? Am I just a passerby in this body? I can feel relieved to see you like this. Su Yatong also sighed, showing her face relievedly, as long as you remember the past promises, whether you are in front of you or behind, your little rain will always wait for you. She resisted the emotions gushing from the bottom of her heart, only a pair of reddish pointed ears shook a few dexterously, did not hug Shen Chen on the spot to comfort him, paused for a moment, and continued, you said at the beginning that it's not like falling down. Scary, but if you stay in place and hesitate, you will soon be swallowed by darkness and fear. Now Xiao Yu has walked out of the darkness, and it's brother Chen's turn. I believe you can quickly get rid of the influence of the past. I stood up again, didn't he? Su Yatong knew that Shen Chen had been robbed of the results of his 2 years of cultivation, and the elders in the family repeatedly told him not to spread it, but to pray and bless silently in his heart. Shen Chen's fainting in the morning, she can only think that it was caused by the unstable mood. Now that Shen Chen's mood is stable, and there is still joking, she temporarily relieved. Shen Chen regained control of the body at this time, the delicate face in front of him was really fascinating, and for a while, his eyes were completely inseparable. Su Yatong's face was reddened by the wolf-like eyes, and she pretended to be angry, this way, Xiao will be angry. Brother Chen has to come on. There are still 100 days. The teacher called me over there. She stomped lightly, turned and ran away. Shen Chen was dumbfounded, what was this? There was almost no past of the two in his memory, but his body and facts told him that the relationship between the two was not simple at all. Lu Wei winked at this time and leaned over, "Old Shen. It's not easy, it's high. It's really high." The broad palm slapped Shen Chen's shoulders heavily, and said weirdly, "Small admired him so much." A few words and a few eyes regained her sister-in-law's heart, and she almost made her report in public. "Come. Tell me, how did you do it? Go, it's not the time to think about Xiao Yu. How are the preparations for the new game? When can I enter?" Shen Chen was strange. He had almost no memory of Su Yatong, but he was extremely profound for Lu Wei. Lu Wei is also a half-born child. His parents' union was opposed by the family at the beginning, so he decisively broke away, became self-reliant, and had plenty of food and clothing. By the time Lu Wei was born, he had already made a fortune. And now, Lu Wei is already regarded as a top-notch son of a wealthy family. His family has the most precious wealth inherited from the family, private cultural fragments. Private cultural fragments are an important evidence to distinguish whether the family is strong or not. It is just that a few children own a world, and the resources are almost inexhaustible. Not only are they inherently faster than the average number of people, they are also the resources obtained in the process of growth. More sufficient. The most important thing is that as long as you have the qualifications to hold fragments, you can enter the world's top small circle. Even if the descendants of inheritance are not strong, they can at least cultivate more than most ordinary people without world fragments. I have entered the new game, but it took me a long time to get the qualification to enter this world, yes. Going back to the new world will give you a surprise, let you see what is the son of heaven." Lu Wei smiled with a slight gratitude. Even with the resources of his family, Class A was almost just a crane tail. After all, most of this class is either rich or expensive, and a few of them are talented seedlings. He has been unable to open the situation in the original game world, but after following Shen Chen's suggestion, he decisively chose the new world and obtained new opportunities, believing that his strength is about to increase substantially. "Well, I have always believed that you can do it, but this time I have to change my own cheer. I hope that I will be admitted to the university in my mind in the end." Shen Chen laughed at himself, trying to catch up in 100 days. 2 years, close to the accumulation of 1,000 days, is not an easy task. "Shen Chen, come with me." Just as Lu Wei laughed and continued to encourage Shen Chen, a stern voice sounded, "Lu Wei, hurry back to the classroom, class is about to begin." "Oh!" Lu Wei saw teacher Yasoluo, like an eggplant beaten by frost, but his actions were not slow. He got up and walked to the classroom. This is the most terrifying and hateful demon in the eyes of the dean, the student. It's better to slip away quickly. Before leaving, he suddenly turned his head back, and gave Shen Chen a ghostly smile wishing you luck. "What the are you laughing at?" Yazu Luo caught his eye. "No, no." Lu Wei quickly slipped away. "Okay, classmate Shen Chen, I'll take you home. Take a good rest at home this week and take care of your body." Yazu Luo took out his ebony staff again, but this time took off the blue magic on the head of the staff. The stone was replaced with a metal ball. He held Shen Chen's arm in one hand. Although he was a mage, his strength was amazing, and Shen Chen, who had a melee physique in the game, felt that his arm was framed by something. Yazu Luo raised his staff. Realize. Countless optoelectronics gathered, the boundary of the dimension was broken, the silver light flickered, and soon a mechanical griffin appeared out of thin air on the college playground. Yasoluo threw Shen Chen on Griffin's back. Shen Chen thought that the metal saddle would be very hard, but when he sat on it, it looked like it was on a latex mattress, which was fit and soft. Then Yazu Luo also sat up and straightened Shen Chen's body. "Sit down." The mechanical griffin spread out its wings, and with a few flaps, it broke the limit of gravity and went straight to the sky. Shen Chen's residence is not far from the college. From high above, Shenzhen has a panoramic view of Nansong City. In countless magic workshops on the south side of the big river, there are chimneys that are thicker than the previous factory, and five-colored smoke rises. In midair, he was intercepted by an unknown circle, and some transformed into a weird light rain and landed on the ground. The residential area of the city is just west of the factory. In this world, if you can live in Zhongdu, your family status is not bad, and it can be regarded as relatively well off. This is a row of Western-style housing complexes, each family has at least own courtyard. The college is located between the residential area of the city and the manor house. The old castle is decorated with magical machinery. The playground and the new teaching building have the modern style of the past, which is really not suitable. And the small courtyard of Shen Chen's family is also located in this area, near the river. The house is the same size as the residential area, but the courtyard is completely worthy of the mansion next door. So it takes only a few minutes from takeoff to landing, but to walk on the road, it takes a circle from the residential area, which is a lot of distance. The teacher has to go back to prepare lessons, so I won't send you to the room. When Shen Chen walked to the door of the house, Yazoo Luo turned around and prepared to leave, but at this moment it seemed as if he was thinking of something. Your cultivation magic stone, I sealed it for you for 5 days. In the past few days, it's the only way to keep your body healthy. The college has specially approved a nutritious meal for you. There will be fairies delivered to your door every night and you have to eat it every day. The school will supervise and inspect you. Yazoo Luo is like his father, telling me carefully that Shen Chen used to be the school's signature and honor. He really can't bear this good seedling. Yes, teacher, you go first, I will take care of yourself. Shen Chen was a little impatient at this time. There is a set of landing equipment at home, he can't wait to enter the game world. Hey! Yazoo Luo naturally knew Shen Chen's character. Fortunately, the cultivation magic stone has been sealed, and if you can't practice these days, there should be no problem with your body recovery. The mechanical griffin spread its wings and flew high, and Shen Chen watched the teacher leave from a distance. Start quickly, time is waiting. Shen Chen waited until Yazoo Luo was completely gone, then rushed into the house, opened an extremely complicated door lock based on his memory, and entered an empty house inside. The room is not big, it is only enough for 2 tables of mahjong. The blue stone-like texture and texture on the wooden floor are similar to wool products. The warm touch can be seen from the bottom of the foot. You can see that this room is probably it was Shen Chen's parents who did it carefully. In the center of the room, there is a simple pendant with purple patterns. Memory tells Shen Chen that this inconspicuous little thing is the medium for coming to the game world. There is a small hole in the center of the pendant for placing the magic stone. Shen Chen carefully removed a diamond-shaped magic stone from the necklace on the neck, and gently fitted it. The texture is activated by the magical power of the magic stone, and the space of the room seems to begin to overlap with the game world. This diamond-shaped magic stone is exactly the magic stone mentioned by Yasuruo. Although the power in the game can improve the ability of the real world, it is usually naturally, the concentration of magic power contained in the world cannot fully supply the needs of cultivation. In addition to the magic stones that help in cultivation, there are naturally energy magic stones that contain powerful energy, which helps to manifest combat and manifest magic stones. The daily use magic stones and the game world together form the basis of this world's combat power. This world refers to the rules of the game world, changes the original strength system, and links strength to rank. It is divided into 9 segments: Black Iron, Bronze, Silver, Platinum, Diamond, Master, Legend, King, and Extraordinary. The Black Iron rank is equivalent to the formal magicians and knight attendants in the past. Most high school students are at this stage. Those who have not reached the Black Iron level are almost considered to be apprentices, and they are considered to be influential in this world. At the same time, it is not easy to transform game ability into the real world. The efficiency of the transformation depends on 3 factors: the quality of the magic stone, personal talent, and magic conversion rate. The quality of the magic stone, as the name implies, is the key to the superiority of the children of the family to ordinary students. A good quality magic stone can be transformed at most twice as fast as a normal magic stone. However, at twice the speed of cultivation, the value is tens of thousands or even 100,000 times different. As a consumable, such a price is beyond ordinary family conditions. Use. But this is not critical. The basic value of personal talent is several times or even 10 times the difference, which is why Shen Chen was able to crush Jiao Yang in the first place. As for the magic conversion rate, this is the difference brought about by the game world itself, and it is also the reason why the cultural core is particularly valued. Imagine that when the whole people move to the new world, the overall practice speed will double, and the whole society will progress. How will it change? I feel terrible after thinking about it, but in fact, the potential of the new world has not been fully released, and no one knows what level it will eventually reach. Of course, the level in the game also determines the speed of training. For example, the magical energy level of a 10th level game character is 4048 points, the talent is 10, the conversion rate is 1%, and the magic stone training speed is 1 point, so realistic the magical energy level that the world can absorb every day is only 4 points, and it takes up to 3 months to reach level 10 from 9th. But a 30level character has 113,512 magical energy levels, and it only takes 3.5 days to break through 10. In addition to these 3 limitations, there are also conversion bottlenecks and the existence of rank locks. At specific levels, such as 10, 20, 30, 45, etc. node levels, you must pass specific ranks to challenge the dungeon/battlefield. If it has been unsuccessful, not only will the experience required to increase the level in the game be 10,100 times the original, but the magical energy level required to increase the rank in reality will also greatly increase. Ding! It is checked that a specific soul has entered the world of gods and demons, the auxiliary system is being activated, the transition track is being bound, the user is being located. A voice that made Shen Chen familiar and delighted suddenly came from his ear. This mechanically cold and yet so pleasing notification, has God begun to care for me again? The main line Rise to Fame mission line is opened. Mission 1, the glory of the protagonist, as the legendary traverser, how can he fall into the name of Earth civilization? The unburned remaining fire, light your own existence. Prove your talent and ability again. Content, in the next monthly exam, the final score will be at least in the top 100 of the school. Friendly reminder, if you fail to pass, think about the remaining fire that is extinguished. But if you enter the top 100, 10, or first place, there may be extra surprises waiting for you. In the year of Sao, your heart is worse than action, so hurry up and enter the game and try hard. The main line Invasion of Chaos mission line is opened. Mission 1, the Trust of North County, the night instructor will abandon you, the guards and the poor will despise you, and if this continues, you can only fall into darkness. Hurry up and think about the solution. At any rate, you have killed so many Black Rock orcs with more than a dozen trumpets. Tip: I haven't seen such an obvious cheating. Do I still deserve to be the protagonist? It may also be good to be a big villain. When the prestige is reduced to hatred, maybe you can drag the corpse to the chaos to see and manipulate the darkness of this world behind the scenes. Then the sweet voice no longer sounded, and Ren Chen Chen didn't respond at all when he called. Soon, the familiar surging grand tune rang in my ears, and a similar but completely different history was gently told beside Shen Chen. 10,000 years have passed. Sargeras and Kil'jaeden never thought that they had been paying attention to the world of Azeroth for 10,000 years, and they were also missed by the Void, Chaos, and the Devil. When Sargeras sneaked into Medivaea's body, it was the weakest moment of the Burning Legion. Draenor, as a springboard for Chaos, was quickly eroded by the forces of Hell, and the opening of the Dark Gate gave Chaos the opportunity to invade Azeroth. They follow the orcs. The hatred of humans and orcs is not worth mentioning in front of the enemy, but the power comparable to the Burning Legion cannot be resisted by their flesh and blood. The High Elves finally sacrificed the Sunwell and summoned the heroes of another world. With their help, the Dark Portal finally extinguished the blood-red unidentified brilliance. But at the price? The burning plains and dusty swamps have all turned into chaotic breeding ground. The orcs were entrenched in the wetlands after the war. Although they were still part of the alliance, no human would welcome them. The Burning Legion did not give up their actions, and cannot stop the invasion of Azeroth. After all, Arthas obeyed his fate and wore the crown of the Lich King, a symbol of the undead and natural disasters, but Archimonde could not even survive the Sea of Forgotten, so he was sent back to the Twisted Void by the power of the hero. UU reading www.uugonshu.com. Azeroth has the ability to protect himself, but the evil forces that are eyeing her are increasing day by day. The heroes will get old one day. Who will defend their homeland and protect the new Azeroth? But you have appeared, inheritors, heroes who descended just now. It's time for you to take over from heroes and guard the world. A new era has begun. North County Abbey, the origin of disaster, the birthplace of hope. The Silver Knights are trained here, the heroes of the Ahima Empire have sought light here, the brave spirits of the Seth Empire have also paid homage to the epic names that were born here, also the guards guarding the World Tree use this as a reserve for savings. Now you are also receiving training here, following the footsteps of the predecessors, discovering your own strength, and giving all of yourselves to protect the world. Grass, don't think that changing your name, I won't recognize the Hell Lord, Alliance, and Scourge of the Guards. This world seems to be a fusion of many games, I like it, otherwise there is no challenge. At this time, Shen Chen is both excited and apprehensive, and is finally about to enter the so-called game world, but can he use his past experience to make a path in many game masters? Playing games in previous lives has always been a symbol of improper work. Although game competition has gradually begun to attract attention, the mass elites will never join them. But this world is different. The top talents and the most abundant resources are invested here. It is indeed a huge challenge to compete with them. But, I just like this. The undead team and the fight made me completely awakened in the past. Come on, princes, see what you have. The blue light spots converge in a lush forest, just like the substance of the game world is manifested in the outside world. The arrival also brings the soul to this world, and then uses the power of this world to gather the formed body. The predecessor has come, and Shen Chen has naturally inherited everything from the predecessor. As a traditional human race born in a small village in North County, he has a strong body, rough skin, flax-colored hair, and looks no different from the real world. The game world is also a real world with complete rules. Shen Chen tried to move a bit, raising his legs, shaking his hands, supporting a lazy waist, making sure that the body can be controlled freely. The gravity difference is not big, and the physical system should not be far apart, and there is no problem with expression and speech. Try other body functions again. Tuko, swear words, and slang are not caught, The fingers are flexible, which is great, even the size is no different from the outside world. Different from the real world, in the game world, the body is still digitized. I gently wiped my fingers with the long sword carried on the back. Although blood stains were seen, the pain was not serious. System, weak injury, oh no. A wound that can heal itself in a few seconds, I need to calculate it and show it, get rid of it. Interesting. Before Shen Chen finished reading the record, the wound on his hand healed automatically. Then make a big cut? Forget it, I don't have the habit of self-abuse, it will be clear when I fight monsters. Shen Chen calls up the game system page. This is the only place that is not in harmony with reality. There are many settings inside. Once they are called up, Shen Chen's vision is completely blocked. It seems that you can't just call out the interface during battle, and see if you can adjust the transparency. That's okay. Shen Chen experimented with the functions of the page one by one. Soon arrived the most important personal information: character page name, Shen Chen nickname, can do tomorrow race. Human Shen Chen shed a cold sweat. Fortunately, his predecessor helped him choose. According to his habits, it must be the blood elf sister who tried to play first. In that case, the happy life in Su Yutong would not have been completely lost with him. Kingdom, Stormwind Kingdom Camp Bias, Good Order Value, 217 Kindness Value, 108. Shen Chen glanced at the content of the asterisks at the back. In the world of gods and demons, good and evil distinguish one's camp, depending on order and chaos. Between 100 and -100 belong to the neutral camp, and higher than 100 is good and order. Less than -100 is chaos and evil. Level 2. Occupation, Cavaliers. Property page. Constitution, 2.4. Evaluation, physical attributes are not important, so I don't need to say more about it. If you lose your physical fitness in Jiao, Gong, everyone will know the consequences. Strength, 2.5. Evaluation, no power, waiting for you to see the sword of the Brotherhood. I can't hold it, it's too heavy. Oh, your brother can get it, give it to your brother. You know how critical it is. Agility, 2.2. Evaluation, this is the most growing and valuable attribute. If you don't believe it, go play RPG. In fact, this is a stronger attribute than physical fitness, because you run faster than your companions. Intelligence, 2.2. Evaluation, silly, big or smart, which one would you choose? If you are a physics profession, adding a little intelligence might become a shame to the wizard world. The ogre is big, this is really not talking about you. Spirit, 2.3. Mana, 44 attack power, 67 armor, 6 points block, 4 points. The effect cannot be activated when the shield is not used. Parry, 3 points. Dodge, 2 points. Resilience, 0 magic resistance, 0 movement speed, 301 points. Strength and attributes, crit, 5% speed, 2% inheritance, cooldown reduction, 0% devil, 0% armor piercing, 0% attribute resistance, none. Special attributes such as eloquence / charm / lucky / perception / savvy are hidden, and the specific values are explored by themselves. Talent page, inheritance talent is not activated. Skill specialization is not enabled. Rune talent is not activated. Personal talent has been activated when you are in harmony with the power of the world. The world will pour this power into your soul. It is a symbol of your heroic talent. I hope you can make good use of this ability and give your share to the protection of Azeroth. Power. Shen Chen's personal talent, the greed of the night prays to the of gold coins, and thus extra money and loot. And he can also get rewards from victory and take more money from transactions. Effect, trade or pick up to get 10 copper plus 10% gold / 5% extra loot. The greed for money is endless. The difference is that the is nothing but you will dedicate it to your god. Evaluation, a wise person knows the degree of greed, but if you have it, you are destined to miss the virtues of the night. May you rest in peace in the world of gold coins. Shen Chen's personal talent, there is an error in the calculation, each soul can only be bound to one talent. System error, system self-check, the target Shen Chen soul is not bound to the talent is now loading, system loading. The Eye of Laron, the most essential part of the swordsmanship of the Laron family, assists in combat capabilities, sees through enemy moves and movements, and defeats the enemy's weaknesses and flaws with one blow. Effect, the built-in cooldown of see-through passive is reduced by half, and the damage is converted to real damage. When seeing through the enemy's skills, there is a 60% chance to eliminate the opponent's skill effects and completely defend against the opponent's attack. When seeing through, an opponent's weakness will be revealed. The attack weakness will cause 80% of the true damage of the attack power, and the corresponding health value will be restored. If the weakness is not centered, it can also cause half the effect. Evaluation, seeing through and flicking the knife, plus real injuries and treatment. Have you ever seen such a passive? To be honest, it affects the balance a little. Race attributes, autistic active skill introduction. Human beings are most likely to fall into their own emotions, so most of the control effects may be lifted by autism itself, and the characters after autism start to get rid of the horns, will be infinitely up, so the damage is increased by 15%, and the defense is reduced 5% for 10 seconds. Epic song passive skill introduction. Human beings are the easiest to produce heroes, and villains in history. Is it because of human nature? Effective publicity? By luck? So all your special attributes are slightly higher than others. Born diplomat passive skill introduction. Everyone knows the human communicative ability naturally. Such a complicated social relationship can be handled. Can't it deceive those stupid foreigners? Your reputation gain speed increases by 10%, and your reputation for non-human races increases by 15%. Adaptive passive skills introduction. Humans seem to have the power to adapt and conquer the environment. The effects and damage brought by the environment to humans are reduced by 510%. Professional attributes, quasi-night weapon proficiency. Melee weapons are best. Knives, guns, swords, halberds, shields, daggers and sticks can also be used. There is no objection to fanning the book. At least there is no problem with bows and arrows. Armor mastery. Don't say it, can't I wear plate armor? After changing to a paladin, equipping your body with plate armor will increase your primary attribute by 5%. Riding. A knight can't ride, you still have the face to be a knight. Born with 50 points of riding skills, riding training effect increased by 10%, not easy to fall in action and battle. Faction. Good Order Holy Light family, you are more adaptable to the Holy Light. In the battle against chaos and evil, 20% of your damage will be converted into sacred damage. War Maniac. If you are not interested in war, why don't you play Holy Light Priest? In dungeons and battlefields, the proficiency increase speed increases by 10%. The attributes are not bad, at least not as bad as I thought before. Shen Chen studied the attributes once. Although the values are digitized, the rules of the game world still reflect all the values on the body, and the combat skills and movements are also truly blessed. In the world of gods and demons, as long as the attributes do not conflict, no matter what skills and techniques can be learned, a knight can take care of defense, output, healing, buff and escape, and it can finally manifest in the real world. The battle and life in the real world have also made choices more complicated and changeable. Shen Chen is now facing this question. Is it better to punish or to punish? As a traverser, it's a pity to play tanks and nurses. Of course, I choose to use violence to export and pull, so I can be worthy of my passiveness. Now that it is determined to punish the paladin as the development direction, the first thing is naturally to find a knight trainer to learn skills. But more importantly, due to prestige, the small village of North County can't go back now. How can I learn skills? But for Shen Chen, who is familiar with the history of Warcraft, this is not a problem. As mentioned in the previous main mission, it seems that the small village of North County is being threatened by the Blackrock Orcs. According to the progress of the game, it should be the Orc squad that sneaked in from the mouth of the Burning Plains Mountains. I think in a real world like the world of gods and demons, you can interact with characters even if you don't accept tasks. Shen Chen thought with joy that although the guards would not let me in, there should be reputation gains from killing the Blackrock Orcs. Even if the value is not high, killing a little more will not hurt, just to train my crappy swordsmanship. Shen Chen just tried to use that thick forged long sword. He is just a game player and a programmer, so naturally he doesn't have the skills and experience to make swords. Even the physical intuition of his predecessor couldn't help him. On the contrary, it made Shen Chen feel distorted when he wielded his weapon. When slashing, he always felt that he couldn't use it forcefully. Forget it, I have 2 levels, it shouldn't be a problem to fight mobs with only 1 level. After swinging the weapon in place for a while, his arms felt sore and tired after strengthening his physique, and the swordsmanship did not make any progress. The Black Rock orcs of the 2nd level may not be able to fight, but the 1st level werewolf should be able to fight it. Just do it. Shen Chen carefully distinguished the surrounding environment. It seems to be a deep forest in the north of North County. The trees are not dense, and there are some tree stumps left by felling, which should not be far from the small village. Took a few steps into the woods along the dense grass, deviated slightly from the road, and saw a wandering war wolf. Black Rock Wolf, Level 1, Health Value 20/20, Beast, Neutral Evil. This werewolf is adult-sized, with some reddish spots on its thick black fur. It has a slender figure, sharp fangs, and fierce red eyes. When Shen Chen found it, this werewolf naturally Shen Chen was also discovered. Its scarlet eyes stared at Shen Chen, slightly showing sharp teeth, and constantly roaring in place, as if demonstrating, while the tail behind it was straight back, pointing downward, but it was slightly tilted. The whole body gradually retreated and hid to the other side of the big tree. This guy is almost the same as the wolf in the real world. Shen Chen exclaimed. Although he has entered a fighting state, he is not as alert as the residents of Game World, because in his eyes, this world is still just game. The black stone wolf sobbed a few times, and saw that Shen Chen did not retreat at all, but gradually approached him. With a low roar, he rushed towards Shen Chen. Good job! This is also Shen Chen's first battle in another world. He feels very excited, his heart beating, and his adrenaline soars. And the digitized body also made his observation more keen. The rushing werewolf gradually slowed down in front of his eyes, and he could clearly capture the blood-red minced meat hanging on the wolf's teeth. Take me a sword. Although Shen Chen didn't know how to use swordsmanship, he also knew the basic rules of battle. He focused downwards, tightened his steps, spotted the path of the wolf attack, and slashed down with a sharp sword. However, this inevitable sword slashed in the air, and the Black Rock Wolf was cunningly leaving room on the path of the charge. When Shen Chen attacked, he immediately leaped aside in disguise, and at the same time, his sharp front paw was in Shen Chen's legs left several paw marks. In the system log column, a blood-red number popped up, attacked by wolf claws, 4-1-1, the damage was not high, but the wolf was unscathed in the previous confrontation. This also immediately gave Shen Chen an alarm. Even the 1st level Black Rock Werewolf is not so easy to deal with. If you are not careful, your first time may not be lost here. Good guy, this little monster is really hard to deal with. It reminds me of the Inquisitor Gouda I faced. He can only hit me for 6 points at a time. I am now alive. The value is 62/68, with unclear health regeneration. In other words, I still have at least 11 opportunities to try. Shen Chen carefully calculated that 11 chances are still plenty, and he muttered to himself, let's use you as my test stone. The black stone werewolf got a cheap blow, and now it was more ferocious and cunning. Originally, Shen Chen was a terrifying creature that could threaten him, but now it is just a big prey. The second attack came shortly afterwards, and the Black Rock Wolf still used the same tactics to rush towards Shen Chen. Remember, don't use the same tactic for the second time before a veteran game player, especially this kind of simple and no-brained routine. Shen Chen smiled, a beast or a beast that didn't even know the most basic point. This time the sword's front is moving from bottom to top. The Black Rock Wolf still wants to repeat the same trick, tearing Shen Chen's legs from the flanks, but its dynamics are as expected by Shen Chen. The sword's front changes its direction in advance, seeming to be waiting for Blackstone. The wolf hit. If this sword is hit, it would be a basic attack plus the damage of seeing through, and Shen Chen's passive is to make the seeing through into real damage. This blow is at least 6 points of physical damage plus 6 points of real damage. Black Rock War Wolf counts as 20 points of life, and it will fall into frequent death. But the Wolf of War showed a tenacious will to fight. Its body twisted into a weird posture in the air, and it managed to avoid the inevitable blow, and threw it aside like a spring. This time it counted. The last draw. I still lack experience. The sword road changed too early and was noticed by this beast. Shen Chen shook his head. The enemies in the world of gods and demons were too real, and not a few brushes were really difficult to deal with, but this is my dish. The system log has changed at this time. Lorentz I is triggered. The weakness of the Black Rock Wolf has been exposed, and it cannot directly attack the weakness, causing 50% of the real damage. The Black Rock Wolf has received 3 real damage, and your life has been restored. 3 HP. It's so passive? No, it should be said to be too abnormal. At this time, Shen Chen realized that the gold content of his own Eye of Laran, even if he is parried and dodged, can this half of the true damage be triggered. However, in the skill bar, the cooldown of seeing through the passive has 8 seconds, that is to say, this passive requires at least 8 seconds to activate once. In spite of this, my confidence has become more abundant. Shen Chen excitedly clenched the hilt of the sword. In the game world, this kind of passive talent is enough to make him fill the technical gap between him and others in more than 10 years. He began to attack the Black Rock War Wolf, walking with swords in both hands. With the previous experience, his eyes began to lock on the legs of the war wolf. As long as he figured out the opponent's path of action, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com believes I have no reason to miss it. It's a pity that this sword still failed to hit the Black Rock War Wolf. When defending, you don't need to move, just adjust your posture, but once you launch an attack, the coordination of your steps, body and arms becomes a big problem. The wolf's actions, but the body did not respond correctly. 4-1-1 and a trace of flesh and blood was taken away by the wolf, but in the tense battle, Shen Chen found that his coordination was rising rapidly. Perhaps when facing danger, the brain and muscles cooperated closer. Come again. Shen Chen is unrelenting, as long as there are gains every time, even if he gets more wounds, what's the problem? 6, 6, plus 3, 6, 6, plus 3, it was another battle, but when the two figures separated, the wolf completely fell down. Although there was not a single hit, the real damage once every 8 seconds finally killed the wolf. On 11/68, Shen Chenzi dangerously defeated a Blackstone war wolf. Hey! He held his breath. The tense battle almost exhausted all his energy and stamina, sat down in the weeds, sweating profusely against the big tree. This Black Rock mob is too powerful, and has no talent. I have overturned here today. Shen Chen pondered the problems and deficiencies in the previous battle. In the last few confrontations, his sword skills have become proficient, at least he can no longer fight with his hands and feet. The post-war summary is an important part of improving the level, even more important than many battles themselves. He glanced at the feedback and the system log showed, 1 point of proficiency for the great sword weapon, 1 point of experience, 10 plus 1 point of copper, Blackstone War Wolf Fur, North County Abbey plus 1, North County Village Reputation plus 1. Wow! A cry of pain and joy spread throughout the woodland of North County. Shen Chen almost jumped up when he saw that special value, but his tired body naturally did not support him to do so, and the result was naturally twisted to that young old waist. He rubbed his back waist with a strange expression on his face. The knight's greedy passiveness was the root cause of his inability to go to North County to learn skills and receive tasks. He was indifferent to this skill and did not report any hope from the beginning. But now it seems that the effect of this skill is much stronger than imagined. If a war wolf gives 11 copper, 1000 can get 1 G. Only then did he read the skill effects seriously. According to the literal meaning, 5% extra loot and 5% higher quality loot should be two special effects triggered before and after. One can make the boss drop more equipment, one but make the equipment dropped by the boss better. I just don't know what this high quality means, but does the original equipment have better attributes, or is it just replaced by a piece of equipment? He remembered the grievances of the past, as a non-Keef, Titan, Flame of War, Thunder. I can only watch others take it eagerly, now it's time for me to be the Emperor of Europe. Seeing this effect, most people will ignore the small print below. Shen Chen thought, it is said that it is the small print, but didn't the goblins sculpt them with a microscope? There is no system reminder, who can see it? The predecessor probably made such a mistake and went directly to trade and quests with NPCs. As a result, the talents put money into their pockets directly from their wallets. For the stubborn North County people, this is tantamount to conquering his valuable possessions from the merchant of Venice. It would be nice not to hate directly. Shen Chen felt a physical movement at this time. It seemed that his predecessor was complaining about something, and it seemed to be crying and resenting. He nodded immediately, and said to himself, I have received your grievance. Isn't it just a few goblins? I will let the venture capital company pay their due price in the future. After saying these words, Shen Chen immediately felt the fluctuation of his soul. He felt that something inseparable had gradually merged into his body, his mind became clear, and his tired body became much more comfortable. The most important thing is that he suddenly seems to be familiar with swordsmanship, and he can do the most suitable maneuvers just by holding the weapon. This makes him very excited. For a traveler born in a city, the biggest weakness is action essentials and combat experience now. Shen Chen suddenly had enlightenment. He and his predecessor had not yet fully merged, and if he wanted to obtain everything from him, he was afraid to complete all the regrets of his predecessor. Let's start with War Wolf. The current reputation is cold 2478/3000, and there is neutrality in the middle to reach friendly, which is a total of 3522 reputation. Each Warwolf has 1 prestige, plus the diplomat effect. A total of 3202 warwolves have to be killed, which is not too much. Try to complete it in the 5 days of unblocking the magic stone. But he got a bitter face again. He spent a total of 5 days, 12 hours a day of uninterrupted killings, but only 3600 minutes, which means that he can kill a warwolf every minute to achieve his goal. Glanced at the system time, it took at least 5 minutes to kill the Blackrock Warwolf, and it took at least 10 minutes to recover his blood after resting, which is a quarter of an hour to kill one. If this continues, it is almost impossible to complete the task on time. Shen Chen quickly threw this sullen thought aside. If he thinks so, the blame can't be beaten. He simply focuses his attention on the next Blackrock Wolf. Maybe with the increase in skill and level, the wolf's battle can also become simple and fast, so that it is possible to complete his plan. The process of leveling and spawning monsters was naturally arduous and exciting. After a few breads had finished lunch, Shen Chen continued to kill the wolves until the sun went west. 99th. He held back his fatigue and kicked the fallen warwolf corpse. This warwolf only hurt me 10 points of blood, which is much better than the previous battle. With the constant fighting and practice, coupled with the influence of soul fusion, Shen Chen's combat experience and swordsmanship are also rising rapidly. Up to now, it takes only 2 minutes to kill the wolf, and the reduction in blood loss also allows him there is no need to recover for that long. It's 11 copper again, now I have close to 15 silver. Shen Chen's fingers flashed a few silvery white lights. The coins in the world of gods and demons were also structured in a regular manner. You only need to convert the copper coins into the system to withdraw the corresponding money. The world has been open for less than 5 days, and the maximum level is 5, and the money they hold is no more than 10 silver. It can be said that Shen Chen is already the richest of all players. Hey, there is still a piece of equipment. Shen Chen was smiling and counting the money. and suddenly found that there was a shiny thing under the body of the wolf that had just been kicked away. According to the experience of past games, it is not out of stock, but what is it? Killing so many monsters, without a piece of equipment, I thought my greed talent was a bug. Good guy, I finally have something. Shen Chen rubbed his hands. For a player, touching the corpse was a very sacred thing. He even poured out the few pots of water and washed his hands before picking up the item. Grass. The character has exploded. Shen Chen excitedly kissed this colorful shield. The shield is not big, even slightly smaller than the tattered round wooden shield in the backpack, but the shield is different. It is wide at the bottom and narrow at the top. The top looks like an inlaid dagger, which is very peculiar. Although the entire shield is in tatters, there is still a faint golden streamer flowing slowly on the surface of the shield, which is not ordinary. Midas Experiment Dagger Shield, Offhand Weapon, 6 point Armor, 6 point Block, Attack Power 23, Constitution +1, Strength +1, Agility +1, Spirit +1. Effect: after defeating any boss, these life essences will be refined, and an extra money and item reward will be obtained. The cooling time is 7 days. Every boss killed will reduce the cooling time by an additional 2 hours. The equipment requires level 3, the strength requires 4 points, and the durability is 60/60ths. In the introduction column of the equipment, it was written that before Midas completed his pinnacle work, the Hand of Midas, there were countless failed works. This shield once converted his arm into gold, so it was quickly abandoned. Evaluation: there is nothing more real than gold coins. Even if you haven't ordered gold hands, you must first use gold shields to make up the scene. Shen Chen was ashamed. It turned out that it was not my luck, but the 99 strange non-keefs who made up for the drop. Rely on that, it's useless for me to use this talent. Will the nameplate of the little black hand be hung on my head again? But this shield is really good. The armor and block are more profitable than his current body equipment and attributes. It also has additional attack power. It doesn't matter if the attack speed is slow, at least it can be used as a supplement. The equipment with attributes is extremely difficult to see before level 6, let alone the total attribute of 4 points. For Shen Chen's urgent need for leveling and killing efficiency, it can be regarded as T0 level equipment. The abnormal state of the game is detected, the equipment system problem is detected, improperly compensated for the drop system, replanning the drop, the pseudo-random drop mode has been activated. Suddenly, the system started without movement. It directly modified the drop system in the world of gods and demons, and the pseudo-random mode once again gave the non-keefs hope that UU reading www.uuganshu.com will not fall for a long time at least, there must be a drop. But Shen Chen is still very upset. Shouldn't the talent fit the soul? Shouldn't I be the Emperor of Europe? When will I be rescued by pseudo-random? He once again remembered this hatred in the goblin who wrote the line. Body. Ah, cut, this is a resplendent clubhouse. Not only goblin waiters in gorgeous clothes come here, but there are also blood elf girls from the northeast. By the side of the large and colorful swimming pool, a big-bellied purple goblin hit a big sneeze. Hey, I always think someone is thinking about my potion. On the beach chair next to him, the naked figure wearing a mask replied, You are just drunk. He took out a bottle of green potion and took a mouthful. This tastes good. Great, do you want to taste every? Oh, you throw that away. The purple goblin hurriedly shouted to the ogre on the side, Take me to this ghost place. What are you talking about? I just shake it before drinking, separately. That is my potion. I regret looking for this ogre. Boom. A loud noise changed this luxurious clubhouse into another appearance. My palace, what have you done? The earthy goblin heard the sound, but only saw a ruin, and his statue was considered to have collapsed. Oh, time is money, my friend, I remember that I still have a potion material that I haven't collected. The purple goblin slid a smoke, rode on the ogre, and quickly escaped with oil. And the figure wearing the mask staggered and asked, "Would you like a drink?" Ding dong! Shen Chen was still shutting himself in the game interface suddenly shook, an interface popped up, and someone knocked on the door. This can be regarded as a black technology in the game world. Corresponding information from the outside world can be transmitted to the game interface, so that whether it is a visit, a phone call or an electronic message, it can be transmitted to the players in the game in time. However, the world of gods and demons is not allowed to go offline. You must leave the battle for a minute or enter a safe area, and Shen Chen can't enter the small village of North County. He glanced around, and it seemed that this big tree was an excellent choice. With the bonus of physique, I climbed up in twos and sat on the trunk. This should be considered safe. Then he quit the game world and returned to the room. He wanted to quickly get up to open the door, but he forgot the physical difference between the game world and the real world. His realistic body is very weak. After 8 hours of continuous games, he was already extremely tired, so his sore hands and feet could not support his body. Boom! Fortunately, the floor of this room is semi-soft, and there is no major accident when the face is on the ground, but the face is a little, bruise. It's all right now. It seems that the predecessor is ready to leave a cane in the doorway of the room, so Shen Chen moved to the door step by step and opened the door. Ah! Ha ha ha, ha ha, ha! It was his dead friend Lu Wei outside the door. He just glanced at Shen Chen's appearance, and almost laughed away, completely disregarding his image. He lay down at the door of Shen Chen's house and kept beating the ground. Ha ha! I laughed to death. Shen Chen silently tried to pull the imageless Lu Wei up from the door of his house. Lu Wei, who was raised his head, took another look, and now he smiled unbearably. Ha, ho ho! Shen Chen jabbed Lu Wei vigorously with a cane. Laugh again? Smile again? Seeing that he didn't stop at all, Shen Chen was a little upset. Did you come here to see my joke? With a bang, he was about to close the door and shut Lu Wei outside. Wait, okay, can't I not laugh, haha. After all, Lu Wei's strength has not regressed. He supported the closed door with one hand, but he couldn't get over for a while, so he took two sound. Don't laugh, why come here? Shen Chen saw that the door couldn't be closed, and sat back in the living room bored, squinting at Lu Wei, meaning that if you don't give me a satisfactory answer, you don't think about it today. Lu Wei held back his smile, followed Shen Chen's way, sat down beside him, took out an exquisitely crafted box, and patted it on the table. No, I don't know what the school's nutritious meal and the fairy are. This is a meal I personally ordered from the Game World Dungeon Raiders Association. Not only does it taste first class, but it is also effective. Lu Wei also noticed that Shen Chen was not in good condition. He ordered a meal immediately after school and stopped the fairy who was delivering the meal. He personally delivered the meal to Shen Chen and took the opportunity to observe his state. Although Shen Chen is physically exhausted, his mental state has changed a lot from the previous few days. This is also natural. The experience in the world of gods and demons is quite interesting, and his strength is bullish, full of strength and hope for the future. Oh, just watch it alone, don't hurt your waist. Seeing that Shen Chen's spirit is okay, Lu Wei naturally started to joke again, and said with a smile on his face, "Sister-in-law told me before I came here. You. Shen Chen is also welcome. The food in the game world can indeed supplement the consumption to a certain extent and fill the stomach, but a few dry breads naturally cannot meet the needs of a day's leveling." At this time, the stomach has already begun to protest. Regardless of his image, he just opened the food box in front of him. Raiders Association's food is generally directly supplied to the Wasteland Group. The packaged food box and the food contained in it are like one, presenting a picturesque scene. The masters of the Raiders Association are also master culinary skills in various game worlds. The skills are top-notch, hurry up and try. Lu Wei said with a smile, you need more supplements for your body. The crystal sauce was spread on the tender red meat slices, while the verdant side dishes with undried water droplets slipped down the leaves. Shen Chen did not appreciate the beauty of the food and did not taste the taste. After a few rounds, a large box of food was eaten up, which was very disappointing. The nutritious meal given by the school, your taste is okay, but the portion is too small. Shen Chen said with a frown. You are such a violent thing. Forget it, I don't bother to care about it. Give it, eat it quickly. I have to go back to the evening self-study after eating. Tonight is Tyrant Li's class, I dare not go late. Lu Wei also served Shen Chen. The good food is so spoiled, how can it be like a rice bucket, but he is also used to it and takes out the rest of the nutritious meal. By the way, I will play a new game in the evening for my self-study. Where are you in North County? I will come to you and show you how good you are. Lu Wei said triumphantly. He hasn't started to upgrade his great cause for the new game, but he is confident that he can at least bring the current Shen Chen. In the past, he was supported by Shen Chen a lot, but now he can finally show off. Whether you are here in the woods on the north side of the small village in North County, on the west side of the wheat field, the efficiency of the two people must be high. There are not many people who have come to this world, and the qualifications are not issued. Take this opportunity to quickly practice. Shen Chen thought about it. Lu Wei is AT. Although he has only one level, his current technology should not be worse than his own, and the reputation will not be divided equally between the two. In this way, the speed of brushing Black Rock Wolf can be improved again. Then it's settled, wait for me in the grove, he he he. Lu Wei Gui smiled, exited the door, and ran towards the school. Shen Chen shook his head. This is his good friend. There is no way. After so many years of being together, this ghost has never been changed. He quickly grabbed the unpalatable nutritious meal, hurriedly finished eating and went back online. He only completed 101 afternoon, which is far from the goal of 3000. Log back into the game, bring up the panel, and you can reach level 3 with 9 points of experience. Although the experience of Wolf Warriors is only 1 point, the experience value of the previous levels is not high. Before Lu Wei has come, Shen Chen started the road to leveling. Eating and drinking, Shen Chen naturally felt that the body was full of vitality again, and the value of the nutritious meal was here. When it came to the game world, the body was constantly depleted as the game progressed. It can continuously provide nutrition and repair to the body in a few hours to tens of hours, and even slightly increase the transformation of game ability. After killing 10 more Black Rock Wolves, a golden light flickered, and Lu Ping reached the 3rd level. The growth of the night added 1.2 points of physique, 1.5 points of strength, 1.2 points of agility, and 1.2 points of intelligence. Spirit 1.3 points. And the feedback on the body is that the long sword in his hand has become lighter, the pace is more dexterous, and the mind is clearer. Shen Chen now feels that even if he encounters the Black Rock infantry, he will have the power to fight. Suddenly a strong wind came from behind, and a shadow cut towards the back of Shen Chen's neck with a howling sound. Who? Shen Chen was taken aback. When he was leveling up and experiencing the pleasure of increased power, he actually ignored the alertness to the surroundings and was touched so close. He can only squat short, push his feet forward, no matter how embarrassed the jump, how to counterattack afterwards, first escape this heavy blow. Old Shen, it's me. A familiar voice suddenly came from the figure who suddenly attacked him. Grass, you be! Shen Chen shouted angrily. Do you have any friends? It's scary. I'm just testing your reaction ability to see how much you have left. Lu Wei pulled Shen Chen up and said with a smile. Cut, it's a pity that you don't play with thieves. With such heavy equipment, walking without making any noise. Shen Chen looked at Lu Wei's initial equipment, a short sword and a shield. The defensive fighters did not have to run. You know, I'm suitable for attracting hatred, right? Lu Wei was very proud. He didn't think he had any problems at all, but Shen Chen could prove that Lu Wei's hatred was indeed very stable. Even teammates can pull together. Okay, let's not laugh, I still have thousands of blame to kill, leveling up quickly. Shen Chen's face was straightened, he has not much time to delay, the next monthly exam is only 28 days, don't hurry up can't. Shen Chen took Lu Wei into the forest where the black rock wolf was very dense. Since there is a T in front to resist damage, he can output with confidence. Shen Chen, who has entered level 3, has replaced the Midas dagger shield, and his combat power has increased again. With his level 3 strength and the additional attack power of the shield, he already has an attack power of 1315 at this time. As long as he hits the Black Rock Wolf, he has a weakness every 8 seconds. There is the ability to kill it in seconds. Although Lu Wei has a low level, he is an aboriginal in the GM world anyway, and his fighting ability has been carved into his instinct. He will not be as clumsy as Shen Chen who just entered this world. The attack may be insufficient, but the defense is definitely not. Problem. Lu Wei cut his defensive stance and dared to walk between the Black Stone War Wolves. Although in the real world, they all attacked from weaker enemies, but the rules of the world of gods and demons made these war wolves look at Lu Wei. Unable to look away, one by one rushed up. Hey, little guys, come here soon, Grandpa has good things for you. Lu Wei faced the first level mobs, showing big you haven't regressed, even from level 1. Shen Chen was well informed in his previous life. UFC, boxing, and movies also have some incredible actions, but they are not as natural as Lu Wei in front of him. Concise and smooth. Although this world is not on the scientific side, it also uses scientific and innovative methods. Since the cataclysm, fighting skills have changed with each passing day. In addition to training since birth, even if Lu Wei is only a high school student, he still has a picture of master fighting. But the battle was not over yet, the other 2 war wolves pounced again. One of them was badly injured. Knowing that he was dead soon, he decisively worked hard to create flaws for his companions, leaving no room like a sharp arrow from the string. The success of the previous round did not make the 2 of them take it lightly. Lu Wei knew the ferocity of the beasts that frequently died, so he tightly guarded the defense area and stood by. As soon as the Black Rock War Wolf rushed up, a huge force from the shield passed to his arm, almost making it difficult to stop his hand. But Lu Wei cleverly deviated downwards, leading the impact downward, and then directly inserted the tip of the shield into the ground, using friction to remove the power of the wolf, and then the dagger was inserted from above to the wolf who was pressed by the shield. Yujian took away its life. Then Shen Chen looked provocatively, look, not only can I defend, but the attack is not bad. Shen Chen pushed away the wolf on the right again, and glanced at Lu Wei, meaning, look what, hurry up and work. The remaining war wolf was quickly solved by the 2 of them easily, and none was injured. It was just that the fierce battle took a little energy. Old Shen, don't move, what do you want to do? After killing the 3 war wolves, Shen Chen subconsciously touched the corpse, but was caught by Lu Wei. What are you doing? Why? You don't have a B number in your heart, talk about how much equipment you used to be black, and you don't realize it. Lu Wei looked angry, as if Shen Chen's act of opening the corpse touched the deep depression in his heart. It turns out that my predecessor was also a hand, but I have talent. I still have to touch the body. And he threw Lu Wei away, his hand speed exceeded the limit of 30 years of being single, and the 3 wolves were all at once. The corpse touched it all over. Fuck. You, faster than my single hand. Beast, you. Lu Wei could only accept reality, but when he opened the wolf carcass, there was something shiny. Fuck. Did you ship it? Lu Wei saw the flash and looked at it with an incredible, unrecognizable eyesight from Shen Chen. Logically speaking, the script shouldn't be like this. Shen Chen picked up the equipment and took a look. The smooth chain armor belt, waist, 3 armor, physique +1. Introduction to equipment. This is a polished chain mail belt, which may be the relic of some human infantry. Evaluation. North County Woodland will not drop a better belt than this. Let me take a look, old Shen, it's really a blessing to lose sight of you. You see, your strength has gone backwards, but your character has improved. The Toyer cultivation results are only useful for a while. But the little red hand is a lifetime event. Lu Wei said jealously. You reading www.yuyuganshu.com. I don't know how Shen Chen's drop was before, but his shield is not a common grade, but his level is only 3. In this way, hundreds of mobs have such a good harvest. This guy is really a transfer. Shen Chen could only hee, but he didn't clearly say that the shield is compensated. This piece of equipment should be a pseudo-random algorithm to count the hundreds of mobs in front. But if you misunderstand, let's misunderstand. I still need to use this misunderstanding to seek the right to pick up the corpse. Old Shen, you can rely on you for the equipment in the future. Brother used to take care of you. Isn't it time for you to return? Lu Wei watched Shen Chen eagerly putting on the belt. He didn't propose to roll it, because Shen Chen's hands were dark, but once it reached the roll point, no one could control it. Others roll 0100, his beast is 90,100, and if you want to roll to win Shen Chen, you must roll behind him, otherwise you will experience despair. Lu Wei remembers that when he was in junior high school, his class tried to play Dragon Valley World and dropped a destructive Griffin longsword. A team had 10 roll points and Lu Wei scored 100 in the first roll. When he thought he had won a big victory, Shen Chen crushed him with 100 perfect rolls twice, and easily put this weapon in his pocket. This incident also made his memory still fresh. If you want to roll points, you must let Shen Chen be excluded. But the pickup just now was something Shen Chen wanted to touch. He stopped it, and I was too embarrassed to propose that he took the equipment, but since Shen Chen was transferred, this does not mean that the future good equipment will roll in. So Lu Wei also floated. Following this momentum, the two killed all the way through the woods, killing the Blackrock Warwolf with corpses all over the field, and in the end the system had to come out and sweep the ground. Lu Wei, what is your nickname for the game? I'm afraid of crabs when I call you. Shen Chen asked while touching the corpse. You only think about this problem now. I'm afraid it's not too late. I posted the page on your chat screen, and you can read it yourself. As a defensive profession, Lu Wei is under most pressure from the mobs. Lying on top of a wolf corpse regardless of the image, he replied casually. Let me see, the little prince of bushes, tenacity, wait, what is the talent of tenacity? Shen Chen widened his eyes and looked at the introductions. Talent, the Lun family will never lose the will to fight in battle. He will always go forward courageously and will not fear pain and suffering. The more the battle, the sharper his will. Effect, get 1% of the maximum health value per second for life recovery, and at the same time, after each victory of the boss battle, the life recovery will be increased by 0.05, doubled for more than 20 copies, and no more than 1% of the maximum regeneration of health. Evaluation, at first glance, it is a life of being beaten. It is always on the way to be beaten and on the way to be beaten. However, maybe only when being beaten can you feel happy? Cut, I got back much faster than you played, and I'm in the grass, come. Come in and kill me if you have the ability. Shen Chen murmured psychologically, why aren't you called the Prince of the Jungle? Why don't you go to heaven? And Lu Wei, what is the relationship between you and the bush? It's not an illegitimate child, it doesn't look like it. But on the surface, he was calm, and he absolutely couldn't let Lu Wei drift off, so he said slowly, no wonder, I have fought a lot of Black Rock Wolf before. You have been hit several times, but I haven't seen you. Take a rest to replenish blood, it turns out that the root is here. Yeah, how about it, this surprise is okay, my tea is not stable. Lu Wei was very excited at this time, like a child who has taken a full score and is waiting for the parents to praise. Seeing that Shen Chen seemed indifferent, he said triumphantly, I know you are jealous and hateful, but the truth lies here. I am a defensive talent, and the effect is outstanding. After that, major colleges, guilds, and institutions will definitely compete. The target of the solicitation, but it doesn't matter, brother will cover you in the future. Shen Chen glanced at Lu Wei with a sullen face, silently cut a picture of Lorent's eye, and delivered it. You, how unfair to God, it's not fair to fall, not to roll, and now it's sending such a heavy blow to me, it makes me. Okay, don't pretend, remember, don't show our own talents and attributes to others easily, we don't know how to die in the end. Shen Chen patted it, and it is hard to see Lu Wei pretending to be like this. I know, you said I'm almost level 3, I can kill another monster later, it's always boring to kill the wolf monster. Lu Wei waved his hand and said impatiently. Yes, let's go. Shen Chen also felt that the experience and prestige rewards of Black Rock Wolf were not enough. If he was alone, he would not dare to try. After all, he did not know what the death penalty in the world of gods and demons was. But there are two talented people, one of them is still AT, but they dare not challenge monsters of the same level. They are indeed too cautious. I remember there seems to be a mine on the east side of this place. The guards of North County recruit soldiers there. We can go over and try. Then what's the delay, let's leave now. The North County area is much larger than the two imagined. Shen Chen, in particular, remembers that the distance in the previous life was 30 seconds at most, but the two walked forward while killing monsters. They walked for nearly an hour before finally. I saw the towering mountains ahead. On the way, the Black Rock Warwolf was upgraded by 1 level and turned into a second-level mob with a health value of 28/28, but this did not affect the killing efficiency. Instead, each of the 2 points of experience and prestige gained, let Lu Wei quickly at the same time as reaching level 3, Shen Chen also touched the level 4 mark. The most important thing is that in Shen Chen's prestige bar, it is finally no longer orange and yellow, but yellow neutral, so that he can trade with NPC and receive quests. Ding, ding. A few bells rang from the road, and the two of them leaned out of the grass curiously, but it was a small group of players pushing a small truck, selling supplies along the way. This kind of player buys and sells supplies from the village. They form a small team so that they don't have to worry about the threat of wild monsters on both sides of the road. Most level players have limited backpacks and are destined to be unable to bring enough supplies. The damaged white outfits can't be replaced naturally. The sales team is doing transportation, buying and selling supplies. They increase the price of the items in the village by 30%, 50% according to the distance, sell it and earn the difference. Look, it's the big fat sheep. Hurry over, now that I have encountered it, how can I not take a big meal? Let's abide by the trade rules. People are already very pitiful. Besides, if this matter is known to others, it is not easy to say. As long as you have love, he deserves it. Who told him to offend the NPC, except here, where can he get supplies? Several people saw Shen Chen, their eyes were green. As the first group of players to enter the game, the example of Shen Chen was widely circulated among them. They all knew that Shen Chen had offended the professional mentors of the North County Monastery and was driven out by the guards. Story. The last time he passed through the Beijun woodland, Shen Chen ran out of supplies, and could only spend several times the price to replenish them. The brown bread they ate before was also sold to Shen Chen by these people. This also let a few people know that although Shen Chen was driven out of North County, he still had a lot of money, and he was a walking big fat sheep. If he didn't take the opportunity to blackmail a few strokes, he could say it. Hey, tomorrow, why are you still here? Oh. You are also level 3. The head of the person approached enthusiastically. Although it was a blackmail, Shen Chen is still a customer at this time. The customer is God. Shen Chen saw a few people, but their faces changed. Through memory, these people were almost forced to buy and sell, and from the predecessor, almost took away most of his accumulation of funds. In the body, that stupid and uneasy emotion also rioted, letting Shen Chen understand that the predecessor had set them as his own goals. For this kind of people who have fallen into trouble, Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Shen Chen himself is also very disgusted, and his brain quickly starts to work. Since you are going to make my idea, I will accept this cart stuff. But Shen Chen won't do it first. The ghost knows how much reputation will be deducted from the battle with the camp, and how much camp bias will be affected. He has no extra deductions. Judging from the appearance of these people, they should be accustomed to domineering, and it should not be difficult to provoke them. As for the two players who have not played 5, Shen Chen has a certain degree of confidence. Both he and Lu Wei are talented and passive. This special ability is extremely rare. I am afraid that among the existing players, they are the only ones in Beijun village. 2 people. In the process of killing monsters and leveling, Shen Chen also relied on the pseudo-random mechanism to touch a few high-quality white outfits. These equipments were all equipped by Lu Wei, and the hardness was definitely sufficient. The equipment of these 5 people are all basic equipment sold in the village, and their current weapon attack power will not exceed 12. And these 5 level 3 players, namely anti-riding, rogue, mage, and 2 warlocks. At this time, their basic attack power will not exceed 10 points. There are also 3 law systems with extremely poor physical abilities in the early stage, the warlock level. There is no demon baby yet, which makes the fighting pressure even less. As long as they retreat to the grass, use the shelter of the trees, and rely on Lu Wei's passivity, they can recover 1 point of blood per second. The elites of Class A in the 2 high schools affiliated to the Zhongdu Academy are bound to be better than a few mixed ones in combat ability. Players have to come a lot stronger, 2 shields for defense. Although the opponent has 5 people, the chance of victory in the battle is still very high. Shen Chen looked back at Lu Wei and seemed to be asking for his thoughts. Shen Chen had already told his good friends about these people. A firm will to war appeared in Lu Wei's eyes. Fuck, these people bullied my brother, did it? The 2 were ready to fight, but the 5 members of the sales team didn't know. In their eyes, why these 2 men beat them 5, and Shen Chen had already offended the NPC, and no player power would recruit him. Got it. We brought enough supplies this time. Did Brother Tomorrow have any interest in it? Several people inadvertently formed a semi-arc shape, threatening to come over with the items for sale, obviously attacking you not to buy anything. We will you the meaning of. This way, I don't have any psychological burden. Shen Chen retreated to the tree, pretending to be unhappy, clenched his fists and said angrily, "No need, a friend brought me this time, so don't bother everyone." Got it. Don't say that, we are also kind to you. We send supplies from a long distance, and there is hard work without credit. Brother Tomorrow is not going to give the brothers a little hard work, even if you buy a few pieces, it's not bad. The sales team smiled unscrupulously. Anyway, Shen Chen and 2 of them are weak, they got 3 silver last time at level 2, and this time they are upgraded to level 3. It is estimated that there should be 5 or 6 silver. Are you going to grab it? I won't give you a copper this time. Shen Chen gestured to Lu Wei, indicating that he was ready for battle, and quietly put his hand under the shield, anytime ready to retreat into the woods. You are avenging your grievances. If it weren't for us, you would have starved to death in the woods of North County. We didn't ask too much. We had half of the money, otherwise, we would have to send you to Miss Angel's visit. And I can tell you that the death of this game will not affect the level of the game world, but will affect the efficiency of the game's ability to transform into reality. If you die once, you will be practicing for nothing if you start serving for a few days. The sales team frightened, and they didn't want to take the initiative. This kind of thing was known to other players in North County, and they probably won't have a foothold. But at this time, Shen Chen had already pulled out the short sword and said, I am not scared, even if I practice it in vain, the money will not be cheaper for you. Haha, the two people have this tone. The 5 members of the team looked at each other. Since Shen Chenming is stubborn, let him die. However, this kind of sudden battle shows that several people are not familiar with the cooperation. If the warlock and the wizard pre-read their skills in advance, plus the thieves' level 3 explosive ability, it will be no problem to destroy more than 50 blood in a wave, but however, the knight was anxious to get angry, and went directly to a trial, pulling Shen Chen into the battle in advance. Shen Chen is not stupid. He will not eat the skills of 3 law systems in place, so King Qin immediately walked around and got stuck on the other side of the big tree. The law system lost his vision, and the skills were naturally interrupted. The thieves entered the battle before they came and sneaked. As soon as Lu Wei saw that Shen Chen was attacked, he immediately knocked the thieves into the battle with a shield, making him unable to sneak in a short time, and he did not love to fight. Shen Chen withdrew into the woods together. Damn, these 2 thieves are slippery, chasing them. The thieves said depressed, and he received a heavy blow when he came up to his forehead. It must be him who wanted to chase the most, but he was still the reason why Lin Mo entered. Understand, if the 2 set up a trap, this entry is afraid that there will be no return. It would be great if the warlock had level 4, and I can take a baby to find the way. The wizard doesn't matter, it's not his idea anyway, and since the skill hasn't been read out just now, it is naturally not a Hansen. The cavaliers were in a hurry. He was anxious and lost the hammer first. At this time, his teammates had no intention of pursuing them. They couldn't help but yelled, I have deducted a lot of prestige. Even the camp bias has been reduced a lot. Forget it. Shen Chen and Lu Wei stared at each other in the woods. These guys are also timid. They don't chase them. Lu Wei suggested, how about I go out and provoke? No, if they don't chase in, we can't go out and fight. The mage class has no instant spells at this level, and there is no wand thrown. In the woods, they can only use their wands to knock them. You can shake your skills unscrupulously. That's really 2 to 5. Shen Chen is familiar with the skills of various professions in his previous life. He is also the trumpet prince of the double camp system of the entire profession. This is also where he dares to face a small team without learning level 3 skills. Most of the sorcerers at this level have only the Shadow Bolt spell. The funds given to them last time should have been spent on the purchase of stalls, and there may not necessarily be sacrifices, and the Frostfire arrow with a casting time of 2 points and a few seconds, even less. Threatened, ruled out the legal system, then there will be 1 defender and 1 thief. It is estimated that standing with you may not be able to beat you. Shen Chen explained to Lu Wei in detail. Lu Wei listened to him. What on earth was old Shen talking about? How could he know these professions so much? Logically speaking, even his vocational mentor was disgusted by him. Where did he get information about his vocational skills? But the reasons don't need to be delved into. After all, Shen Chen is a good friend of Ji, and he only needs to know his NB. Then we just wait. Don't worry, these guys are not capable, but they are full of greed. They will definitely not give up our 2 sheep. Shen Chen was still holding it, and finally checked his own state. As expected, the 5 people finally decided to go into the grass, and the 5 people were scared off by the 2 people. They still want face. Just as Lu Wei was about to agree, a sharp knife shot out from the cracks in the grass and went straight into his middle door. It was obvious that the thief remembered the hatred of the shield and went straight to Lu Wei when he met. It's a pity that he provokes the wrong target. A thief hits a well-equipped MT. It is not a wise choice. Lu Wei backhanded his sword and opened the thief's machete. Then he slapped it with a shield. The thieves who were caught off guard were stunned directly. In the real game world, the effects of some blunt attacks are mostly judged as special damage, which not only ignores the armor, but can also cause effects similar to shock, disability, and dizziness. This heavy shield is no better than the previous one. The thief almost directly hit the surface of the shield and was dizzy. Several stars appeared above his head and fell into a forced dizziness. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.cm. At this time, Shen Chen also suffered another trial by the night, and then stabbed the thief in the back. 13, 13, 14, 24. Four numbers of different colors appeared on the thief, and while the thief was still dizzy, the two madly beat him again. Rogue level 3 only had 92 points of life. He just woke up from a coma and found that his health bar had turned blood red, with less than 10 blood points left. He was so scared that he wanted to escape. But Shen Chen wouldn't make mistakes. It's better to break one of his fingers than to hurt his 10 fingers. Moreover, when the thief died, the opponent team would have no ability to threaten them. He stuck the path of the rogue's escape, waiting for the hand holding the sword to regain strength. The two shields were clamped in front and back. No matter which direction the rogue wanted to escape, he had to take another sword, but the remaining HP really couldn't resist the damage of an attack. However, Lu Wei and Shen Chen also received a round of skill baptism from the mage and sorcerer for this, but Lu Wei has regained blood and Shen Chen's attributes are high. These dozens of points of damage are not enough to threaten their lives. So the thieves had to die in unwillingness, and the remaining 4 people also had the intention to retreat. What happened to the vertigo and the long series of attacks just now? Why there are control skills at level 3, how can the knight have such a high attack frequency, what is that golden number? At this time, Lu Wei directly entangled the knight. Didn't you cut it very well just now, do you like throwing hammers? Shen Chen walked around the woods 2 times at this time, waiting for Laurent's ICD to recover, and gave the knight a sword, and immediately returned more than 10 points of blood, while Lu Wei just stood there. 1.1.1. The dotted green came out from the top of his head, making the Fey really have no desire to attack.